From across the comic book community multiverse, the Comic-Con podcast begins now with your hosts, Justin, aka Nemesis Prime.
If you give them the title of influencer, then that's giving them more power, right? That's how it is. Like, I'm a nobody. Listen, I'm a nobody.
Zach, aka the Manimal.
We talked about it for a full, I believe, 7 to 8 minutes on an hour-long normal podcast for a show. And you would have thought we set their house on fire with the backlash. So,
hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Comic-Con podcast, season 3, episode 20. Recording this on May 17th of 2023. Your boy, Nemesis Prime. And tonight we're going to be talking about the death of the Comic-Con podcast, because after this week, I may be in search of a new co-host. Because if you all know what's going on in the personal world of my man, Milton the Manimal, he's having a baby. And so taking applications, taking recordings, interviews, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I'm taking applications. Like, if anyone's taking my place, I'm the one who's vetting them and doing it. But no,
so
we're just going to have a new co-host, a baby co-host. You might have occasional baby crying, screaming in the background, a baby manimal. So,
but yeah, if anybody's out there wants to be a new person here, say well wishes to Zach, because he'll be gone after this week.
I'm gonna need the occasional break, I'm sure.
That's fine. It's fine.
From baby time.
Listen, we have enough listeners who would love to join us. And speaking of people that love to join us, we have our man BlakkCrown Comics on this week, because I like to have some Canadians, and I know Newbie Comics is always talking very highly of you, and I know Rocksteady's upset that I have you on here and still haven't put him on this channel. But we'll get Craig on here. But what's going on, man? How are you? It's been a while.
I'm doing good, man. It's been a long time. Missed you guys. I guess this is the point where I hand in my resume, right? Like, this is where I'm going to send in my application.
This is your interview. We'll see how you do today.
Jesus, that's a lot of pressure. But yeah, man, happy to be back, guys. Missed you guys.
Yeah, it's been a while, and it's pretty interesting. So, of course, if you don't know, BC was on the show last year. We did a full month of Canadian YouTubers, IG community members, so it was a lot of fun, and he was one of them. And we got to talking. He's on multiple channels on YouTube, of course, the Comic Kingpins. You can find him randomly on that because he's always busy with personal life. You can sometimes find him on the Newbieverse, a terrible channel.
Yeah.
And you just had an announcement last week. You're finally starting your own YouTube channel. So obviously you don't have any video yet, nothing's up. But like, what are we going to be looking forward to so people can subscribe up to your channel? Don't do like a top 10, right? You're not doing top 10s.
No top 10s. But I think Comic Kingpins does enough of that. Newbie even has Dynamite picks of the week. So there you have full coverage on picks. But no, so I'm aiming for a May 28th launch. It's looking like we're going to do Sunday nights. It's going to be myself and then rotating guests. Mm-hmm. Definitely want to cover some of what's going on the market, latest topics, hot topics, right? It seems that weekly there is tons of news that breaks, and I know we're going to be covering quite a bit of that tonight. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's pretty much it, man. It's just going to be a hangout show.
Yeah, a good Sunday night thing. That's good, because most people are winding down on a Sunday, and I know Newbie used to do Sunday nights and then do the Tuesday thing, and it just was, I enjoyed the Sunday night because I would just kind of watch it. I just have it on the background, or if I'm doing stuff like comics, video games, whatever. It's always good to watch him on a Sunday night, and I guess things change. So yeah, if you have the time on a Sunday night now, make sure you follow our man BlakkCrown Comics, and you'll be seeing him live on YouTube. So. And then speaking of Newbie, obviously we have to talk about this. So last year at Terrificon, Newbie Comics was handed a Comic-Con podcast t-shirt. And he said, I need this because I have to give it to BlakkCrown Comics because BC wanted one. And I said, sure. And BC, sent me money, and we got it. We handed it to Newbie. And lo and behold, it took till literally May for that delivery to happen.
Almost a year.
Guys, I got it this Monday in the mail. So it's like he knew. And when you asked me, like, hey, you want to hop on? I was like, what are the chances? I get it the week of.
Oh my God. How unbelievable. Like, so if you're out there listening and Newbie Comics, don't even bother giving him anything or sending him anything, because he will just keep it. I'm surprised there's not tons of cat hair on that shirt after a year of him.
There actually was. If you go on my Instagram, you're going to notice. Swipe, and you guys shared it. I'm like, I don't know whose hair this is. I hope it's maybe his cat, not Newbie's.
Right? It's his hair, dude.
It's gotta be. Oh
But
God, that's too funny.
it does seem blonde. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I'm glad you got it. Please, we appreciate the support, so thank you. And of course, anybody out there listening, you could always hit up me or Zach. We do have shirts available, so in many different sizes. So definitely hit us up. You can always check out my Whatnot sales. I typically throw them up in the buy it nows as well. So, but yeah, let's get into tonight. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about. You know, like I said, even though we're not really going to talk about the death of the Comic-Con podcast, we're going to talk about some comic stuff right to start off. And I mean, this is good old, I'd say this is perfect time for some good old fashioned drama, right? So
Love it.
I'm not going to blame some YouTube channel that just recently spoiled all the Amazing Spider-Man number 26 goings with a certain death of a character known as Kamala Khan.
Awkward.
Yeah. Comic Kingpins. Good job.
What?
Anyway, so over at CBR, you know, and this has been running on every different platform, right? It's on Variety, Entertainment Weekly, all the different websites for the upcoming Amazing Spider-Man 26. And, you know, I feel like there was already enough exclusive variants that this wasn't going to get enough traction anyway to like make this thing more than double price, right? I don't think it was going to be a $50 book or even a $20 book at the end of the day. But I found this article. I think this is very fun to talk about because, of course, there's always those people in the world that want to take the death of a character and make it into something racist. So over at CBR.com, check out this article. It's called Miss Marvel Fans Decry Kamala Khan's Death as Exploiting Sexist Racist Tropes. So in the upcoming Kamala Khan's death in Marvel's Amazing Spider-Man 26 will exploit racist, sexist, and problematic tropes in the angry fans that we all are. So, Zach?
Dude, this whole article makes me angry, man. First off, let me just preface this by saying, like, I used to love CBR. Like, honestly, whenever I was looking for like comic book news in the past, years, it was always like my first site I would go to. And I feel like I'm kind of moving away from CBR because I feel like these are the articles that we're getting on CBR is always some kind of like woke agenda type push from CBR, and I don't like it anymore. Like Bleeding Cool and all these other articles are actually just like pushing the news. And I feel like you're seeing more and more from CBR that are like lending this route. But dude, this is the dumbest article in the world, first off. So I have so many points to make here, but throughout this article, they keep saying fan favorite character, Kamala Khan, fan favorite. First off, she doesn't have an ongoing title. Okay. She can't hold an ongoing title. How can you call her a fan favorite character? By what? By 20 fans who won't buy her books? It's the same with Miles Morales. He's not a fan favorite character. He cannot hold a title on his own. Throughout this whole article, they also say that it's such like bullshit that she's being killed in someone else's book that she has no ties to. Well, she doesn't have a book. Where else would she be killed in? And so it's just obnoxious the way this is written or the people who are so upset about it. And so basically, all I can read from this, and the only lesson that I feel like is being taught in this article is that you cannot kill any character that is a person of color, a female, or anything. You can't kill them. It's unfair. It's racist. It's sexist to kill these characters. It's just, it's utter bullshit, dude. And then not finally, because I'm sure I have a lot more to say about this, but the other big focus of this is they keep downplaying this like, oh, they're killing her to move forward the story of a white guy named Peter Parker. You mean the most important character in Marvel Comics? Like, you should be so lucky, Kamala Khan, that you are a blip on Peter Parker's radar in moving his storyline. He is the Marvel universe, bro. I mean, I hate Spider-Man. I'm not a Spider-Man fan. I'm an X-Men guy, but like, dude, Spider-Man is Marvel Comics. So, I mean, it's just this whole article is absurd, dude.
Yeah, it's tough. BC, what are your thoughts on this whole thing? And I guess we've seen death in comics before, right? But how do you feel for this? Do you see it long term as well as what's going on in this article and how you feel?
So before I get into what I obviously think is going to take place, I just want to touch on what you were just talking about. Can't be a person of color or a female and so forth. CBR kind of pushing that little bit of gaslighting, I guess we could say. But what I want to add to that is I saw so many people speculating on what may happen in ASM 26, and if anyone's reading it, MJ's got kids and stuff like that, so there was people putting out theories that maybe the kids are gonna die. So who knows how that would have, blown up.
Well, as long as they're white kids, it doesn't matter, bro.
Yeah,
it's okay as long as they're white kids.
Yeah, but no. Besides the point, now when it comes to Kamala, I believe she's died before, though. Wasn't there something in Champions that happened where like there was a little event somewhere along those lines? But
I don't know.
I mean, I read them. I can't remember. I don't think. I mean, I know they were arrested. They were all about that, but yeah, I don't think that second Champions team. I recall having that, but yeah, I don't know unless there was like a tie-in event. But yeah, she's been, like Zach said, mainstay. She could barely hold the title. She's got like that recent 5-issue mini.
Yeah. But what's kind of weird is like, I don't know if you guys noticed. Now we have the Marvels coming out, right? Obviously, she's in there. We just had Miss Marvel. Now, Doctor Strange, let's just go to this direction for 2 seconds. Dropped in 2022, right? There was Death of Doctor Strange within the same time frame.
The miniseries,
Exactly. So now we have Miss Marvel dying right before this is going to come out. I don't know if Marvel thinks that, hey, maybe this is going to add some eyes on the character, building up to this movie or whatnot. But I think it's a poor decision. But going back to the MCU, it kind of makes sense as to why they want to do this, right? Because even within the ASM run, she's been pretty irrelevant. Like she's just been in the background. And now this happens. Given how in the MCU they've gone a certain way with her origin story, I think this is their opportunity to reset that. She will be resurrected, is what I think, in maybe 2 years' time. Maybe a mutant Krakoa.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, that's what like a lot of the theories are, right? Is that you were going to find out she actually isn't an Inhuman. She's going to be a mutant in the comics. And I mean, we've seen this before with like the Scarlet Witch stuff, right? Where obviously Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver were always mutants in the comics, and then the MCU retconned their character. So then they changed their origin story to match the MCU. Yeah, it makes sense. But like one of these things in this article that just, okay. So this whole article talks about how like racist and sexist this is, right? And then this one person writes on Twitter, of course, which is just like a cesspool. It's almost like barely better than Reddit, right? So it says a teenaged Muslim woman's killed by a crazed Jewish male villain for the advancement of a book starring a cis-het white male in his 30s as the climax for one of said book's most divisive stories in living memory. You have guts, Nick. I'll give you that. So first off, let's break that down. A teenage Muslim woman, whatever. Okay. Killed by a crazed Jewish male. Is that not borderline anti-Semitic? First off, by saying that. And then I literally had to Google this because I can't keep track of what these new
the words mean.
Cis-het, which is like, I guess, cisgender heterosexual person. So I don't know, like what most people in the world are, I guess, the majority of human beings. And it's just nonsense to me, dude. Like, how did they had to scour Twitter? I feel. Well, sorry. Here's another one. Killing off Ms. Marvel, a Muslim girl, is both sexist and racist, as well as the fact she's dying in a title of a character she's unrelated to and having played a very little in this storyline. And using it to further a white man's story is so effing awful. Hope you get fired. Now, that was written by Aiden. His name's Aiden BLM. Okay, so we all know what Aiden BLM stands for, right? Like what his mentality is in the world. So
yeah, they always pull the best Twitter handles on that.
Yeah, dude.
But you know what? It's crazy because like it's like we've had these deaths before.
Yes, and everyone dies in comics, dude.
Yeah,
it's the best thing to happen to a character, to be honest.
and to be honest, it probably would have been better if, unfortunately, people didn't ruin it. But obviously, times have changed. Like in the '90s, when people died, or '80s, obviously, we didn't have the internet. So, unfortunately, this stuff is going to leak at some point. There's no way around it. And can you be prepared? It's either you keep it hush hush, or you do this whole thing where it's like, hey, someone's going to die in this issue, right? Obviously they already have, it's already basically confirmed because they're coming out with that fallen friend, the death of Ms. Marvel, in like a few months. They've already talked about it. So it's like, all right, I guess this is happening. Does anybody care? And like you said, BZ, like they're coming out with a movie. Does it really put any eyes to her? I to be honest, I don't think it does that at all, because I feel like the readers now are the same readers that that we've all known. Like, if anything, the people should be, they're like, oh, the Marvels, Kamala Khan, I'm gonna go check out older stuff, like when she first appeared. Like, I don't care what's happening now because I'm gonna be completely lost. So
yeah, there's a reason Marvel hasn't, and I'm actually surprised that Marvel hadn't started some kind of ongoing for Ms. Marvel leading up to the Marvels coming out. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy to me. One of the other things in here that everyone's like outraged about is that it's just like, it just never ends, bro. The outrage, like, oh, and it's just so offensive that it's happening during Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Like, it's just like, come on, dude. Like,
look, realistically, I'm not surprised that this is the fallout we're getting now already. You know, since the news broke. But I remember Zeb Wells was told by Marvel that when they knew of what direction he was going with this issue, they said you might want to hide from conventions for a little bit. Like that was the advice they gave.
Yeah.
And I
understand Kamala Khan fans.
Yeah, I understand why. At first, when I saw that news where they said, you know, you might want to hide, I thought they were going to resurrect Uncle Ben. And I was like, that's going to piss off comic fans, right? But now I can understand why they went this route. That they told Zeb Wells to like maybe lay low at conventions after this drops. But I don't know, man. I kind of feel like we're in this place within the world where no matter what, someone's going to be pissed off, right? So I turn a blind eye to that. It's just like, whatever, you know.
Oh, totally.
Feel however you want to feel. But realistically, I mean, it could have been anyone else. And we would have started another movement.
I remember when like Dan Slott told, you know, he killed off Peter Parker in ASM
for
7800, whatever it was. And I remember him being on the news, and you could go ahead and YouTube this, like, and you know, he talked about it on like the news where like people would send him death threats and this and that. And, you know, Dan Slott's career, you know, still went on, and he did great stuff because, I mean, Superior Spider-Man was an amazing run.
One of the best.
Yes.
You know, and his first really true amazing Spider-Man run after that led to like Edge of Spider-Verse was extremely well. And then he stuck around for a very long time with ASM. And then, he's moved on, but that didn't stop his career from slowing down. So,
but unpopular opinion, possibly, and this is coming from a Spider-Man guy. I love Spider-Man. Everybody who watches us knows I say this religiously. But when it comes to ASM's runs as of late, like everything that's been coming out, realistically, I hate to say it, Dan Slott's ballsy move was probably one of the better things to happen to Spider-Man in a long time. And the build-up, it's probably one of my favorite stories out of Spider-Man.
Yep.
You know,
I'm not a Spider-Man fan, and I love Superior Spider-Man. I think that's like one of the best stories. I mean, what are we talking about? Nick Spencer? Come on, man.
Yeah, exactly. The build-up to when you find out it's Doc Ock and they swap.
Yeah, right. Dude. And that Peter's not actually dead. He's kind of like a ghost. That was killer. Exactly. Man. That was killer.
It was amazing. I'm sure. And again, see, you got that threat.
Yeah. Well, and even in this article, it goes on to say what Nick Lowe, the editor Nick Lowe, goes on to say he hopes reading the actual book changes people's mind in response to, or changes your mind in response to one reader's take on the issue. I mean, dude, she's not gone for good, man. I mean, they got more TV shows and movies coming out with her. Like, everyone just relax a second, you know?
Exactly.
The whole fridging comments and like harking back to Kyle Rayner and all that. Like, it's just like, dude, this stuff has been happening. This has been happening in literature, in media forever. Death of characters motivate other characters. This is a trope that is consistently used through every medium of art in history, dude. I mean, it's just, this is nuts, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could sit here all night, and I'm sure people don't want to hear about everything that's going on with Kamala Khan's history. So let's kind of switch over out of the Marvel. Let's get into some DC stuff. Speaking of DC, we have an article staking with CBR.com where Wonder Woman is having a daughter, and we all want to know, who's your daddy?
Who's your daddy and what does he do?
Yeah. So DC is introducing Wonder Woman's daughter Trinity in the upcoming issue of Wonder Woman number 800, written by Tom King. We don't know too much. Of course, it comes out on June 20th, and Trinity will be playing a role in Diana's upcoming Dawn of DC solo series, which is going to be dropping in September of 2023. So, with that being said, Zach and I always talk about characters. They keep coming out with the same characters. Can they just come out with a brand new character instead of a rehash? BC, what are your thoughts on having a daughter for Wonder Woman after this whole time? Because, we've seen it, Batman has Damian, Superman has Jonathan, Wonder Woman's finally getting someone true as of right now. I guess we could call her, her true daughter. What are your thoughts?
Well, like you said, kind of how everyone has somebody. I'm curious to know, we brought up, who's your daddy? That's question number one. But I know Newbie is actually going to be pissed because what happened to Yara Flor? Remember?
Oh my God!
Everybody was like all in on that one. So look, I'm gonna obviously buy up some of these copies. It's a no-brainer. It's her daughter, but I don't know what they have planned for this, and it's kind of a out of nowhere. Like, where did this come from?
Yeah,
and this is for issue 800.
Yeah, of course, and of course, Tom King, in the article talks about, further. He goes on and says King further explained that John Kent, Superman, and Damian Wayne provide a model for the impact that we wanted for Trinity. So of course, at some point, without a doubt, like, you obviously have to bring in the Super Sons with Trinity and have them as the Trinity of DC. And listen, as long as people jive to her and get behind her, that's there's hate and there's love for all characters that come out. And obviously, we're all comic book people. We all hate and love when they do certain things, right? And as long as they just introduce her and it's not an agenda and it's not some weird thing that they're going to do with the character, just have her come out, see how she plays to the audience, and at some point, she'll probably get her own series. But at least we'll have something in issue 800. Who knows where we'll go from there? Zach, thoughts?
I'm kind of leaning both ways on this. Like, in this article, I really like what you kind of talked about with Tom King's like inspiration for this, and even kind of harkens back to his own children. He has 2 sons and a daughter, and he says he thinks it's funny how his 2 sons like protect his daughter or whatever, and the dynamic there. And then obviously we have characters that have hit out of the park with the Super Sons, whether you're a big fan of like the Jonathan Kent stuff that has kind of changed over the past years or not. The Jonathan Kent Damian Wayne interaction is gold. It's awesome. And so there is always that question, okay, what about Wonder Woman, right, as the Trinity, to fill out the Trinity? I do understand some of the anger as well. I found it like another article that kind of talks about the anger of it, which is kind of true as you read through it, which is kind of based on like, you're bringing in another character, and there's so many supporting characters in like Wonder Woman's history that really don't really get any kind of like fleshed out, right? So we have Donna Troy, who we're seeing in the current Titans, who has no connection to like Wonder Woman anymore at all. Like, they don't interact at all. You have Cassie Sandsmark, who kind of got rebooted and left out in the lurch. Like you said, Yara Flor. So it's not like there aren't characters out there with a Wonder Woman connection. It just kind of seems like DC's kind of given up on them. They're like, okay, those characters didn't hit. Yeah. It's almost kind of lazy in a way, right? You think about it, you're like, damn, okay, they hit up. First off, so it's kind of a loaded thing. Batman, like every supporting Batman character, like feels like it hits. Whether you like that character or not, there's fans out there for every Bat family character. Like, everyone hits, right? Superman's supporting characters are a little smaller, right? But they're still pretty strong. But Wonder Woman's, isn't a lot of popularity out there. Like, they don't hold their own titles. They don't really have their own stories or their own arcs that really kind of like flesh those characters out. And it kind of feels like DC just is like, crap, we can't do anything with those characters. Let's just make a new one and try again. Back to the drawing board. So I don't know, man. I mean, I'm interested. I'm definitely going to check it out, and I'll see where the character goes. But at the same time, I kind of understand the boringness of the Wonder Woman characters. Like, I mean, every single character is another Amazon from the island, right? Like,
for the most part.
Different. Like,
I think Cassie's the only one who's not. Like, Cassie was different from them, and it's like funny. Like, Zach and I were talking, before, and my brother just finally got into Young Justice on HBO Max, and he's like, oh, who's the other Wonder Woman chick? And because he doesn't know, he knows some DC, but it's just like, it's true. Like, Cassie's like to me, Cassie's an underrated character. I love Cassie. She's probably my favorite Wonder Girl. And then Donna would be
I love Donna. Yeah, I'm a big Donna.
Like, they're cool. They're great characters. And you're right. They've never had their own series. Obviously, Donna's typically always been on like the Teen Titans or Titans team. Cassie was always with like the Young Justice. And guess, God, I don't even know what the hell she was with the, they did the Young Justice.
Yeah, they had
series.
both Titans, Teen Titans, Young Justice recently with her. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, I think it's going to be tough. Like a lot of people are like, ugh, they're tired of new characters. I'd rather just see them like rise the ranks with the existing characters because we all got Yara Flora and she's just kind of like they were all set for that solo series and that went just like
completely south. But that's the thing is exactly what both of you guys said is like now here we go, we're jumping into Wonder Woman 800, we're getting the daughter, and will it stick, will it hold? I kind of feel the fatigue of this throwing characters is just settled in. Especially DC spec, man. I feel like a lot of people, especially when it comes to the new stuff, there's so many characters coming out, like look, Failsafe and so forth. Like we saw so many characters drop within the last 3 years. How's Punchline even holding up?
Good. I think Punchline's one of the better characters that's been introduced. Like I love Punchline actually.
Yeah. But now here we are. We're talking the big three. You got Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. I'm hoping they do something with, like you said, Super Sons filling that gap. But Tom King is where I'm putting all my faith in.
Right.
Like, forget all of the speculation related to the character. I think Tom King is going to deliver on giving a proper introduction. And Zach, like you said, which I actually didn't even know, the fact that he has 2 sons and 1 daughter, I could see him working on the Super Sons.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what he says. He wants to bring them over at some point as well.
Yeah. That 100%.
So here's my pitch. You have like, okay, let's say Wonder Woman. I mean, obviously everyone's thinking it's Steve Trevor, right? Would be like the pitch of the father of the year. Whatever. But like, let's say she had a little dalliance while she was out saving the world with some random no-name dude who has a daughter who's grown up. And it's kind of like, I think it would be really cool for her to start training someone who's been like off the island, not part of the Amazon culture. Yeah. Like that's way cooler. Like, don't give me another copy and paste Amazonian that like is not interesting at all. You
want that rebellious Damian Wayne?
Yes, something like that, or even like I would have been even not a biological daughter, something even more like a Tim Drake or like a Dick Grayson, like an adopted daughter or something that she picks up like an orphan off the street, she rescues or something like that, like Batman-esque, something to kind of really spice up. Wonder Woman has one of the lamest backstories, period. I mean, it's just the truth, really. It's just kind of boring. I don't know. And I love Wonder Woman as a character. I mean, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm with you, dude. Like 100%. Tom King sells it for me. If it was someone else writing it, I'd be completely uninterested.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. So I don't know. We'll have to see again. June 20th is 800 for Wonder Woman 800. So make sure you go pick that up.
And have you heard any variants or anything exclusives on that at all?
I am sure. Well, first of all, it's a centennial.
Right, 800 of them, right?
So it's not. It'll probably be like they've done it for like Batman and Superman. They've always done like every 10 years. They'll do like the 10 years, so like the 40s, 50s version, 60s. So I'm sure they probably will do that. If not, you'll just get different variants done by different artists. Probably like a 1 in 50 at this point, I mean, I don't even know. I haven't even looked at the solicitations, like because I typically don't even get to solicitations for Wonder Woman because I don't read it. But I'm sure like they'll definitely be dropping some type of exclusives like for this character. So, but yeah, like you said, Zach, I think you got it right. I think that's the way it should go. Is it should be more of like a rebellious character, even let it be like an Amazonian who just hates being on the island more so than like Diana. Like,
wouldn't it be really make it be like have a son? If she had a son, ooh, that would be more interesting. I mean, obviously, I guess the dynamic of, because we can't have too many boys, right? So you couldn't have like the Super Sons and then another son. But like, if you really were going to give a child to Wonder Woman, it makes more sense, more interesting for her to have a son, in my opinion.
Dude, look, I could tell you, it is a different dynamic, man. I watch mothers with daughters very close to us, and then my wife with my sons. Wow, that's Wonder Woman. That would be a whole different Wonder Woman.
Right, and especially coming from like the culture of like the all-female Themyscira culture, like just like it's funny whenever you see in all the alternate worlds the Helena daughter of Batman is very interesting as well. It's a very different take on him. Yeah, because you really only see him with Barbara Gordon, who's not his daughter. So it's dude, I think that would have been the way to go, in my opinion.
And guys, regarding the book, the pricing is probably what I'm assuming a $7.99.
$7.99, $8.99 book.
Yeah, probably, or the $10.99 one. I think those
it is. Oh yeah, actually, the article the article does show. So it's a 1 in 25, a 1 in 50. There's a special foil variant, and then the regular book is $5.99. The foil's $8, and then cardstock is $7.99. So
that's not bad.
Right off the bat, you're already looking at like a $6 book, and then variants alone, shops that have to order 50 copies. I mean, you're already into it for like $300.
Yeah, I'm just taking a quick look online, and I've counted, and I mean very speedy look. I've counted at least 10 covers.
Yeah.
Is it the ones like Justin said, how they do with like with the 800 issue where it's the decades? Because I know what you're talking about when you said.
Yeah, they really doesn't say the article. It just says Brian Boland, Jamal Campbell.
There's a swimsuit cardstock.
Ortega, yeah, the cardstock. There's going to be the foil. Of course, it's June, so there's Pride Month, and then there's a swimsuit variant as well. And that's at least 8 or 9 right there. So, and I'm sure again, the people still have time to do an exclusive if it's not already in the works for
but
centennial issue.
There's a variant with Trinity on the cover, if I'm not mistaken. No.
Yeah, well, in the article they literally show you with her. So, I mean, obviously,
and she looks like Yara Flor, right? She has like the Yara Flor costume. It looks like.
Yeah, they talk about it in the article that they they love the design of Yara and her chest plate and wanted to do a similar to Joelle Jones's design in our own, like establishing a common piece young Amazons use frequently. So
if you were picking up any copy, would you be picking up that copy, the one with her on the cover? Do you think?
I probably would.
Yeah, I would say the cover, if not probably the 1 in 50 black and white. And I'm sure I'm guessing the 1 in 25 is going to have her on the cover, and then the 1 in 50, my guess would be just the main cover but black and white.
I'm looking at, what do I see here? 9. I'm looking at 9 covers right here.
It's
none of them are good.
Yeah,
damn, none of these are very good.
There is one with Yara Flor on the cover.
Yeah, dude, that's like seems disrespectful, dude. That's like that's probably the best cover in terms of art, in my opinion, and it's just like disrespectful.
Yeah, that's the Campbell one,
dude. The other one, have you seen the one where it's just Wonder Woman with like stars behind her?
Yes,
that's horrible.
I know that's the foil.
Ugh, that art looks bad, dude.
I think the best one is the Ortega one. It's like a black and white. I think that's probably the best.
Nice.
The Boland, of course, is tough, but yeah, I like the Yara Flora one. That's Jamal Campbell. Of course, I always talk about Jamal Campbell, not J. Scott Campbell, Jamal Campbell. But yeah, I guess we're gonna have to see when it comes out in June what it's all about. So, do we want to kind of get into some bad boy news?
Let's do it.
So, this is some interesting news, and again, we're gonna take this with a grain of salt, and we're also gonna say allegedly, but we haven't seen our boy Donny Cates in a while, so we're kind of wondering what happened, right? Because we've talked about him coming off of Thor, coming off of Hulk, so we have some insider knowledge of some stuff, and again, allegedly. So Mr. Donny Cates went to a Marvel meeting, and he was there pretty messed up, kind of fucked up, as we would say, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of like the end all for him and Marvel. And then recently we had spoken to someone who is a facilitator, and they said that he's actually in rehab. So what do you think? The bad boy of comics.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, we kind of touched on this not too long ago about him in terms, like what Justin said, with all of his different titles and whatnot. And on Twitter as well. And I think we talked about this on a show. I don't know if it was just Justin. I get everything confused now, all of our conversations, but we had talked about that him and his wife divorced. And and look, I mean, like Justin said, this is all allegedly, and this isn't us like trying to like talk trash, because I mean, if this guy's got problems going on in his life, like my heart goes out to him for any issues he's having with, whether it's with substance or, the loss of his marriage and stuff. All that stuff's tough, man. So like, no judgment. Everyone has their weak moments, and everyone has like their struggles. So it kind of makes sense, right? Because we also had, you saw Crossover kind of like dipped and like disappeared for a while.
Yeah,
I think really the only title that feels like has been consistent with him is Vanish. Right? He's still, and who knows how much was already written or how much he's still writing, because isn't that segment as well?
So. Is it ironic that the ongoing title for Donny Cates that has been seen a little more is called Vanish, and he vanished from Marvel?
Dude, I actually really love Vanish too. I'm honestly like,
dude, everyone's telling me it's so good. I like
it's good. It's got a good story.
I refused to even get invested in it simply because it was the constant letdown, right? By Donny. I'm like, fuck this, man. Like, you know what? I don't.
Give it
I'm
a
not
bit. Give it to like 10 issues. I think you're on issue like 6 or 7 here. Give it to like 10 issues, man, and then or maybe like whenever the arc is done, it's good and the art's great. I actually really enjoy it.
Shit. Well, you guys may have convinced me because I did read issue 1 and I'm like, So I will go back to it. But Donny Cates, man, like you guys said, you know, he was working multiple titles and he obviously went through what he was going through with his wife at the time. They're divorced, and you saw some posts as well, man, on their Instagram. I'll be honest with you, anything Donny Cates was posting was almost related to his marriage and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't want to say they seemed like they were maybe bad influence for one another, or, you know, maybe into some weird things, or I don't know. We don't know. We can all assume, but clearly, if this is what you guys are saying as info, it's better to see him be getting help. I'd rather he just completely stay away and come back 110%, because he did bring out some bangers, man. Everybody was on that Venom train.
Yep.
Sure, people
Thanos stuff. I mean, when he got on, I mean, Thanos was
Ghost Rider.
Amazing. Yeah,
man. So and dude, Donny Cates' even Guardians run was
it was good,
entertaining, man. So I'm all for it. If he could come back, I hope that if this is the case, he does get the help he needs and come back fucking kicking ass, man.
Yeah, you got to wonder. I mean, he kind of, and I don't want to make it sound like he came out of nowhere, because obviously he'd been in comics for a while, right? But like the Venom thing obviously put him on the map. And let's be honest, whether you like Donny Cates or not, I mean, no one's been more revolutionary in a character or on the Venom character than Donny Cates. I mean, if you fast forward 10 years from now and you talk about Venom, you're probably going to be talking more about Donny Cates, in my opinion, than you probably would McFarlane. I think Donny Cates really changed the character in a good way. But, you know, you wondered, like, a new marriage, the pressure that he had, obviously, of being like you're on top, man. You got to stay on top, right? Like, so you're working your butt off, and he's very vocal on Twitter and stuff. And he doesn't he doesn't pull punches, man. I mean, he runs his mouth, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I respect that as well. And I think, you know, maybe the pressure got to him. Obviously, the workload, possibly. You know, we're all making assumptions here, of course, but I think it's a little bit of everything.
You never know what's going on behind the scenes until
life's
tough.
And
that's what it is. Like, maybe it is. You need time. You step away. If this is really what's happening, let him take care of himself, and then he's going to come back. It's not like he's not been great at being able to write characters. So, but unfortunately, you know, if you did walk into a Marvel meeting and you were pretty messed up, I mean, that's kind of, I don't know if that's like the last straw, and you're not going to be able to come back to Marvel. Right?
That makes total sense. And like you said, man, you know, personal life and things like that. You mentioned it at the beginning of the show. I occasionally don't even make it onto my own YouTube shows of Kingpins, but it's not because I'm dealing with my, you know, I'm not doing drugs or
you're out here rocking the nose candy. Is that why?
Yeah, no, exactly. But no, you know, we all have our own things going on, my kids and stuff like that. It's very hard to juggle. And I could imagine what he's juggling, right? Multiple titles and all that stress. So you never know, man, what someone's going through.
Yeah, you never knew. So,
well, again, allegedly we heard some stuff, you know, hopefully he gets better if it is true. But, you know, that's just some stuff that we figured we dropped to some information. So if you're wondering what's going on with Donny Cates, that's possibly what's going on. So, let's get out of our comic book stuff. Let's get into some movie stuff. So, you know, we've been talking about it. You know, nothing's kind of been moving because of the writer's strike, but Disney did, or Marvel, I should say, did drop some information this week. We did post it on the podcast Instagram page. We have confirmation of both Loki season 2 and Echo season 1. So Loki season 2 starts on October 6th, of course, being the weekly series that it always was, and mostly all the other series are. But the biggest hit was Echo season 1. All the episodes will be dropping at once on November 29th. So
hell yeah,
Marvel is testing this binge opportunity to see if this is the way to go instead of a weekly, you know, weekly thing that we all do and we all speculate. You know, Zach, what are your thoughts on season 1 just dropping all whatever? If it's going to be 6 or 8 episodes, you know, what do you think?
Hell yeah. I love the binge. I love the binge stuff, dude. Let's binge it up, because I don't have time sometimes to, like, And so, look, you watch the shows like Moon Knight, right? That we've talked about that were kind of like a little lackluster. And I bring that, I don't say that one specifically, but that's obviously one that kind of comes up. But it might have been better if you were just like, boom, you watched it all right out the gate in a row like that. But the lead in and like the weeks apart kind of made it drag a little bit. So I'm all for the binge. I like the binge, and I couldn't be more excited for Echo, because with Echo, that means Daredevil Born Again is right down the line, baby. And that's what I'm trying to get to. I don't give a shit about anything else. Just give me a Daredevil Born Again. Take me whenever needs to get there. So I'm excited, dude. I'm really looking forward to it.
BC, what about you? You think do you like the binge effect? Do you rather have it weekly to kind of give you that, the climax of, waiting for it every week, the thrill? What do you think?
I will be honest with you that weekly waiting for the episode bullshit just doesn't do it for me. I have kids. I got kids. Like, most of these episodes end up watching me the second I end up on the couch that night. But no, I'm all for the binge, man. I think it's a great thing. The only thing I'm a little puzzled by, though, is, the recent Disney Plus numbers came out, right? And we saw they lost like 250 million subscribers or something like that.
Yeah.
In the second quarter. So I figured, maybe they're doing this whole weekly shit, one, to tie into what's happening within the MCU timeline. Maybe it was for something like that. But also, it extends people staying subscribed to their platform, right? So if for whatever reason, I don't know, this Echo series is going to be 8 episodes, you got 8 weeks, right? So you're going to have subscriptions for 2 months if somebody wants to subscribe just to watch that, right? So now with the binge effect, is that going to impact people, impact their numbers? Maybe someone will subscribe, watch all of it in one night and enjoy 1 month, and then be like, okay, peace out, I'll be back for the next series.
Right. I mean, that's what happened to Netflix so many times, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's why they split up like Stranger Things and their bigger shows. They do that. So,
well, I guess since you guys want to play the binge game, I play the opposite of, I enjoy the week to week, because like I said, I enjoy the hype, the anticipation of next week's episode. It's always that, obviously, that water cooler talk. Like, you watch that episode and then you get to talk to your friends for like the next 6 days. Oh my God, did you see this? Did you see that? And it gives you, what could happen, ideas, thoughts, speculation that everybody does. Obviously, this is why we do shows, because we talk about stuff like this.
Yeah.
If you had a 1 week thing, so it's going to drop on November 29th, I'll tell you that the following week, Zach and I will do season 1 review. Like, that's literally what it'll be. We're going to have to, because, we'd like to stay current. I'm not going to wait, 8 weeks or 4 or 5 weeks to go ahead and do this. We're going to do a review the following week. So be prepared, people. Season 1 review.
You also got to wonder if it has anything to do with the strike too. Like, I don't know enough about how like the writer's strikes work and everything, but obviously we have the strikes coming out. And as we were getting ready, I read an article as well that production for Daredevil Born Again kind of is being slowed up as well due to the strikes. So everything. I wonder if them dropping it was just like, hey, let's get this in and out of the way. I don't know.
It's gonna be weird. So we'll have to see. I don't know if this is a good idea, but it's called testing the waters. I don't know if Star Wars people want to see this. I don't know what other Marvel or Disney Plus shows that they got planned. It's a good idea. I think it's different when it's a kid show, because kids have, like, short term. So it's like, they did it with Moon Girl, right? They dropped literally the entire season on Disney Plus. So that's the easier way to do that, because at least the kids have something to like watch, like, for a very long period of time. For us, you're right. Like, we don't have the time of day, but at least if you get to 1 episode a week, even if it's not on that day that it comes out, it is what it, because I feel like seasons that binge watch, like, I remember, like, obviously, like Umbrella Academy, if you don't watch it within the first week, it's already spoiled for you, because someone has already done a review like 4 hours after it's already dropped, because they literally binged the entire thing. So I don't know. We'll have to see come November, and then in December when we do this, we'll see what the numbers are and see what the next show they do is. So that's it for news this evening, folks. Let's kind of round out our show, of course, how we always ending these shows with what are we currently reading. So comic book talk. Of course, BC, you're always on Newbie's channel. You're always talking about the weekly books, the first appearances. Do you think they're going to hit? Do you not they're going to think? You get your FOC over on Comic Kingpins, and you're always talking comics over there. My man, what are you currently reading? Anything good? Anything that people should be knowing, talking about? Anything you like?
I honestly, I can't say that I'm pinpointing a specific series I'm absolutely loving. I'm still on Carnage, man. Carnage is actually awesome. I think it's up there.
Yeah.
For me, when it comes to Marvel, there's many other titles. I know some people feel a certain way about Spider-Boy. I've got the faith. I've got the faith. But yeah, no, man. Pretty much everything and anything comic related, I'm reading. I've shied away from some of the indie stuff lately.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. It's just like Something is Killing the Children and all that stuff. The House of Slaughter just kind of died off for me. I wasn't enjoying it anymore, so that stopped. But literally everything, guys. I can't stress it enough. Still, Carnage being number one.
I agree. I talk about it every couple of months here on the podcast. I think he's one of the most sadistic villains still. I'm glad they kept him that way. I think his previous series was amazing. I think this series is amazing. And obviously, going into the Summer Symbiotes, which obviously Zach's not a big fan of, but
I do like the Carnage Reigns, though. I am enjoying Carnage Reigns.
Yeah.
And it's cool with Carnage right now, like you said, Justin. He's sadistic, and now you get two of them. Now you got Carnage and you got Cletus Cassidy. So it's like double the fun, man. I mean, it's really, really cool right now.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
What about you, man? Zach, what are you reading? What did you pick up this week?
I have a couple that I've really, really enjoyed, and like a couple honorable mentions. In the X-Men storyline right now, like Forge's character in X-Men right now, I'm loving everything Forge does. So it's been a long time since they've written any good Forge, and he's kicking ass, I feel like. I've also, Justin, you kind of got me reading, and it's tied in with like the Carnage stuff as well. The Red Goblin, I enjoy it. I'm not loving it, but I'm enjoying it. I like Normie. I like I like the move. I'm not crazy about the good Norman Osborn. I feel like I don't know yet if I'm there. I think they need to do more with him. I feel like every issue they just talk about how he's beating his sins. Like, you know what I mean? You know what it feels like? It feels like the 90s explanations on Psylocke's power. Like every time you saw science, it's the kinetic force of or totality of my kinetic force or whatever, my telepathic force. Every issue and every time Norman's on the scene, it's a constant reiteration of he had his sins erased and he's good. And it's just like wasting time and like get to some good shit with Gold Goblin. But I'm enjoying
this week's, or did you you caught up? Okay.
Yeah, I read this week's. What was the kind of trash of the week not trash, but I don't know how I'm feeling about Bloodline. I've been reading Bloodline. I like the Deacon Frost character coming back. I'm just not totally sold on it. Maybe it's the writing. I like the character dynamic. I like Blade. I'm excited for Blade's ongoing coming up here soon, which I'll check out, but I'm still kind of on the fence about that one. But my pick of the week this week, man, was the Ghost Rider Danny Ketch, the return of Howard Mackie as writing a classic Danny Ketch storyline. It felt like I was back in the 90s reading volume 2 of Ghost Rider again. We're back in Cypress Cemetery, Danny Ketch, Johnny Blaze. I loved it. Couldn't say enough. I love Danny Ketch written by Howard Mackie. Awesome pick of the week, in my opinion.
Nice. Yeah, it was on my list to check out, but I figured you'd be talking about it. So
it's good.
Awesome. For myself, not a groundbreaking issue, but Avengers 1 this week. I enjoyed
that one.
It's the way it's done is I feel like the way they should really almost do it, but space out. So it's basically obviously Carol's going to be the team lead, and throughout the issue, it's them fighting this villain, but it's also her recruiting the characters. And I feel like Avengers should almost go the route of like X-Men, like how they do you vote for, who's going to be your characters. I mean, even if us, the readers, don't get to vote who's going to be the next Avengers team, at least like if you're going to start an Avengers new series, like maybe space out like 1 or 2 issues, like, the first couple issues, like let it be like like if it is Captain Marvel, like let her go out and get these characters and like have more than like 2 pages of interaction. Like let it build up to a team so you don't know who's going to be on the team literally from the front cover. Yeah. But I get that, some people don't have the time for that. So let's just do it all in one issue. Again, not groundbreaking, but it's supposed to lead into some Kang storyline. So again, I enjoyed that.
I didn't pick it up, man, because I wasn't crazy about the lineup, but And I kind of regretted it all week. I was like, damn, should I get that book? Because I always pick up Avengers, but
Well, see, what's good about it, I guess, is that it's no new characters. They're all classic
yeah,
Avengers characters. So it's not like you are missing, or it's like you're missing out because all these
right.
characters have been on this team for a while now. So that's the one
Yep.
good thing that compared to like obviously the last Avengers run, which had
Mhm.
multiple new characters. Another book, and I feel like once this series at some point, whenever it decides to end, I think once I go back and reread it, I'll enjoy it a lot more. But Bounty Hunters 34 came out this week, and I know it's a title that you and I, Zach, we've talked about. Like sometimes it's good, sometimes it's
Yeah.
absolutely like trash. The whole Inferno Squadron storyline right now has been solid.
Mhm.
I feel like when they're not involved in those tie-ins, the series is good, right? Like if
Yeah,
it's not going with
room
like
to
Crimson
breathe, yeah.
Reign, the Hidden Empire stuff, the Dawn, whatever that
Yep.
Soul wrote, I think Bounty Hunters was good. Like those first like 10, 13 issues were solid. But then they started getting into like the tie-ins. But
Yeah.
now that it's not part of the last series that ended with Hidden Empire, like this whole Inferno Squadron storyline has been great. And especially if you played the Battlefront 2 game and the characters of Inferno Squadron, because obviously this takes place before that video game. So I'm liking it. I think it's great. It's definitely had some low points, but I think once the series completely ends, I would reread it and enjoy it because and hear me out. Like let's do a Suicide Squad type movie with the Bounty Hunters.
Mhm.
Star Wars.
Yeah, you're right about the there never seems like any stake in the bounty hunters, right? Like like you said, the first 10 issues there was good, and then they're always thrown off by whatever the tie-in is. And you just never really know like what is the point of this title? Like with obviously Bayer Valance is like the main character, but like I never really know what his goal is. Like, what are we working towards? Like, what does this guy want in life? Like now he's working for the Empire, now he's not, now he's a bounty hunter, now he hates Bosk, now he's working with Bosk, it's like, god damn, man, like what's going on here?
And it's so tough to kill off any of these characters because it's like
Yeah,
you
you
gotta
can't kill
tiptoe
any
that
of them.
line of like
Yeah, dude.
they can't do something because if they want to use them in live
Right.
action, it's like, well, where are they at this point in the storyline?
Right,
Like obviously, you literally have all these characters, and I know upcoming that they're going back to having like Boba Fett, Dirge is gonna come back, and it's
Yeah.
just like, oh god, everyone's gonna be in there at some point. So that was another good title this week, and then of course one that I was waiting for, the DC's Dawn of DC Titans 1. Did you read it?
Mhm.
Yes. Go ahead.
Sorry, no, go ahead.
No, go ahead, DC. Go ahead. Cut
No,
off
I'm
me.
just
It's fine.
kidding.
You're
I'm
not going to
just-
be my co-host.
No, sorry. There goes my resume. But no, I just wanted to correct myself because I just realized you guys were speaking this week's books. So I completely
It could be
botched.
anytime. It could be anything. That's we always.
So no, I will redeem myself once you are done because there's a few books.
Okay. All right. We'll come back to you if we have some time. We have no time. Yeah. So DC's Titans. It starts off with some crazy stuff going on. I'm not going to say what, but again, there's no Justice League in DC, so this is the title. Like, if you want a team title, like this is going to be the title for a while. And I always love the characters. We talked about it when they announced it that this is going to be the future, and we're going to see where this character who has an unfortunate incident in literally the first panel, and we'll go from there. So that was kind of my pick of the week was the Titans, and it's Tom Taylor. It's got your classic characters, so. And there was an interesting. You read it. You all read it. Yes.
Yeah.
The Peacemaker showing up.
Yeah.
So stupid. Like it's so weird because like Peacemaker now in every comic series is different, right?
Yep.
Like he wasn't like the James Gunn version.
Right.
He's like a completely more hard ass version in this comic compared to like the other versions you've seen him in.
Yeah,
so
it's kind of annoying.
it's weird. All right, so we do have some time. So BC, let's.
Oh yeah. So we'll go straight into DC, man. I think one of the sleepers was actually the Batman Brave and the Bold. If you
I did read that.
Sorry?
I did read that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So that was a pretty good read, touching on some Joker stuff there that I thought was really cool. So wanted to reference that. Marvel, Venom 19 was pretty good, but something that I wanted to just mention was the Hulk Annual 1.
Mm-hmm.
We actually get a preview of
what's
going to be coming now within the upcoming Incredible Hulk series, and it seems they're going back to that that eerie creepiness when it comes to Hulk. And I don't know, I got some Immortal Hulk vibes. I don't know if you guys read that one. And you also see a preview. Sorry, within the preview, there's like what seems to be the big bad of the upcoming series. So
yeah, I checked it out. It was cool. I'm with you too. It definitely has like horror vibes. So I'm interested in it for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our picks of the week, our comic book reads. Yes. Oh,
real quick. I forgot this. So Image, and this is kind of since we're talking about like picks of the week, and this was a really good book this week that kind of leads into this. Another good book was Radiant Black number 24. So like I'm a big fan of the Massive Verse. I read every title in the Massive Verse. You know, I think they're great. And Radiant Black and Image are doing something fun. Harkens back to the days of Jason Todd, where you get to vote for who's going to end up being the Radiant Black. So obviously, if you're reading Radiant Black, you got the original, you got Marshall, and then you got Nathan, or the original Nathan, and then Marshall, the kind of the newer one. And so they both they've been sharing. Oh, I picked Marshall, bro.
Yeah,
I like Marshall.
I feel you.
Yeah, so if you've been reading it, Radiant Black, they've kind of been sharing the Radiant and splitting the powers back and forth, and we all know that can't last, right? So, in issue 24. They kind of, the entity that they're talking to is letting them know like only one of you is going to end up being the Radiant, or end up being Radiant Black. So they're allowing the people to vote. So you can actually go to I think it's radiantblack.vote or radiant.black/vote.
Yeah.
You have 16 days to vote, and you can pick who you want. And on July 19th, you'll find out the winner in Radiant Black 25 as to who will have it. So very much like the Jason Todd days, right? Kill him or don't kill him. So
I love it.
Yeah. Who'd you pick? Did you pick Nathan?
Yeah.
You pick Nathan? You like the OG? Nathan kind of pisses me off, dude.
I'm saying, but I don't know. I just feel like they can go so many different routes with that too, right? With the whole Nathan Marshall. You know, someone like one of them could have either the redemption story or one of them could have the complete like villainous outcome afterwards, right? There's so many ways this can go, and I love that they put it in the hands of the fans, man.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I enjoy Radiant Black. I enjoy the Massive Verse. I think Rogue Sun's my favorite title.
Did you read No One?
I haven't read the issue 3 yet. I'm waiting for that one. I like No One.
It's a bit much though.
It's a bit much. Yeah, it's a little. I don't want to sound dumb when I say this, but it's a little like wordy at times, and you're kind of like, okay, I don't know. It's okay. I'm hoping it's 10 issues, so it's not a big deal, and I'm hoping it'll kind of even itself out. But I'm enjoying it.
Rogue Sun, man.
I love Rogue Sun. Yeah, Rogue Sun's great.
One.
So
awesome. All right. Well, before we get out of here, BC, tell everybody where they can find you.
Of course, you can find me on Instagram, BlakkCrown Comics. You can also find me on a new channel that I just launched, also under the name of BlakkCrown Comics. Every Monday night, 7 p.m., the Comic Kingpins go live. I am there. Not every Monday night, but definitely when I can be there. And of course, with Newbie on Tuesday nights, we go live normally around 9:40 p.m. Eastern time. So there you have it.
Well, we appreciate you coming on here. Again, your resume and application for tonight will be taken into consideration going forward.
Bribes will be accepted.
Can't let you have a spot on Newbie's channel anymore, so we may have to sign you over. We may have to sign you a better deal.
Well,
what about you, Zach? Any words before we get out of here?
No, man. Like you said, big week next week for me, but I don't imagine it too much will pull me away from the podcast, so I'll still be around.
Wow, I appreciate that.
I'm with you. I'm still trying to see if I can work Terrificon, but I don't know if that's going to work.
Dude, it's fine. We still do this thing. It's always good. Yeah. So, and for myself, of course, don't forget 3 Men in a Basement Comic Swap. If you're listening to this early enough, 3 Men in a Basement Comic Swap is this Saturday up in Newington, Connecticut at the Angry Hare. Of course, your boys, the Comic Con Podcast, are one of their 9.8 sponsors. I will have some stuff up there to give away as well as possibly sell. I'm not sure. I'm hoping the variants coming in, they were shipped for the people that did buy at least either the regular Virgin Topless and Nudes are coming in hopefully this week. I'm hoping to get them before I leave. If not, they're here early next week. So I will be shipping those out for anybody who ordered just the regulars, and then the rest will be coming in another shipment separately. So
thank you for all the support on that too.
Hold on. Before we go, I did order, and I did ask for one to be put aside for me.
It's being
right?
shipped to Newbie, dude.
Exactly. This is my fear. This is my fear.
Actually, let me tell you, Newbie doesn't even have one. He was late to the party. I don't.
You want us
even
to
have
ship
him.
newbies to you?
Oh,
He doesn't
that
have
would
one.
be fantastic.
Newbie doesn't get one.
Well, we still have some. So if he does get one, we'll ship it to you, and then you can
The-
give it to
no.
him in like a year.
The only ones
Yeah,
we have
I'm
left
gonna
is like
hold it.
nudes, topless, and possibly 1 or 2 medals or foils. I forget what it is, but I do have BC down here as a trade dress because he wanted the one with our logo because he supports us, unlike
Nice.
someone who's been on here multiple times.
Yes, sir.
So we appreciate that. Thank you, BC. So again, thanks so much again. Yeah, Zach said for the support for the variant, and I can't not wait to get it. I'm probably gonna cry, and I'll probably actually do an unboxing on Instagram once it actually comes in. So be on the lookout for that. That's it for season 3, episode 20. We will all catch you all next week. Peace out, everybody.
Later.